Hey guys, EDDBUD here. I'm back with another episode of the Running News. Story number 1. So the UK government have said that physical activities and participation events can reconvene, but unfortunately, of course, there are some serious caveats. UK Athletics have released a set of guidelines that race organisers have to adhere to. Not just race organisers either, it's also spectators, any participants, any volunteers that might be helping out at a race. All of them have to follow a set of specific guidelines. I'm going to outline some of the key features for you so that they're a little easier to understand. So we all love receiving those race packs when we've entered a marquee race. Though it does appear everything that you would get, even your bib number, any additional information has to be sent out prior to the event. I think what they're trying to do is minimise the amount of contact between participants and any volunteers and organisers. They're trying to remove that registration element. All registrations now have to be done prior to the event. I think any race related information about the course or the route also needs to be sent out prior to the actual event itself. I think a big issue that organisers are going to have to try to get around somehow is ensuring that runners are socially distanced before the actual start of the race. I think this is going to affect the availability of bag drops and things like that. They're really important for some people. If they've come a long way, perhaps they haven't been able to park nearby, or they've had to stay in the town or city where the race is taking place. Obviously they're going to need all their gear in a bag. Where are they going to put it? Within the guidelines, they've also recommended seeding the start of the race, perhaps looking at projected finish times and then grouping the runners into different categories. I think what they're trying to do there is ensuring the flow rate of runners through the course is kept to a consistent sort of level. There aren't these big peaks or spikes at specific sections of the course. Another big thing that organisers are going to have to look at is maximising the start line areas, so people can still keep as socially distanced as they can before the start of the race. Race pacers are not going to be a thing. They won't be allowed, as well as entertainment along race routes. That's a really big thing in somewhere like Manchester or London. People love seeing all the bands. They've got DJs and stuff out on the sides of the race route, but that won't be a thing, at least for the time being. Also, organisers have been asked to remove or minimise the number of very narrow areas on a race route. That pretty much counts out most of the races that I've done of recent time. I can't think of one that doesn't have a section that's quite narrow somewhere along the line. Sadly, but understandably, they have said that sealed water bottles should be used and they can't be passed out to racers as they go by. The runners are going to have to pick them up themselves as they pass by any water stations. They've also said that runners should utilise a belt or something to bring the food or water or sustenance that they require themselves, so they've got to carry it around with them. That's going to put a lot of people off, I know that. It's okay maybe carrying some gels or something like that, but carrying around hefty water bottles and things like that, people just are going to go, no thanks. I can understand why that we need to do that to minimise the contact between people, but I can also understand why some people out for a PB or whatever, they're going to wait till next year. Race medals will not be given to runners after they complete the races, and they're asking people to clear finish lines as quickly as they can, not to sort of dwell there after they've finished. They've asked that protective equipment be supplied to volunteers, and anybody that has been hospitalised with the virus over the last few months or weeks has to be properly screened by a medical professional. I can see these rules and guidelines putting pay to a lot of smaller races. It's going to crank up the amount of money that it takes to actually administer one of these races, and I can see some local events just going by the by. I think it almost makes certain road-based events impossible right now. Many runners also really cherish the social aspect, the entertainment and the surrounding activities of large-scale events. Without those things, they may have second thoughts on actually attending or entering in the first place. So guidelines are there, and we can tell that they are still needed right now. It's not like the virus is gone, but it's a bit of a logistical nightmare. Story 2. It looks like the Nike Air Zoom Tempo Next Percent has finally landed over in Asia. A host of higher quality images appeared of this new training shoe. There's a variety of different colourways, including this very fetching grey and white version. The AirPods here appear to be orange and dark blue. There's a white and grey upper and the all-important blue pull tab. You've got to have one of those. A little clearer now that Nike have used React in the heel section of the shoe, and the rest does appear to be ZoomX with a composite plate. It's said not to have the same rigidity as the one that's used within the Alphafly Next Percent. It does certainly seem like more of a training option to me. There have been some weights banded round. Nike certainly seem to be setting this shoe up as a training shoe rather than a race shoe. I tried to do some conversions on the price and it did seem to come in at a little under £200. That's a lot of money. I guess with all that marketing and stuff and research, you know, you've got to claw it back somehow. Let's hope it lives up to the hype. Do you think this shoe will be a worthy matchup against the Endorphin Speed? Let me know in the comments below. Story 3. So I did pick up some news this week about the New Balance Fuelcell RC. Or RC Elite, should I say. People seem to be very intrigued by this shoe. It's almost mythical. Very few images of it exist anywhere. But it does appear that it's going to come out in September. So not long to wait at all now. The traction on the outsole of this one does appear to be very similar to the Fuelcell 5280. You've got those tightly gripped rubber protrusions. Apparently that's called Dino Ride. When I think about that, I think of the Dinobots from Transformers. It'd be kind of cool if this shoe transformed into one of the best options available. This really does seem to be the definitive carbon shoe attempt by New Balance, and certainly very similar traction type pattern to that appears on the Takumi Sen 6 or the Adizero Pro from Adidas. There's a weight quoted of just over 200 grams for a US size 9.5, which is extremely light. I'm always a little dubious though when they give us weight measurements. I want to measure it myself just to be on the safe side. So certainly this one appears far lighter than Nike's Alphafly Next Percent, and perhaps a little closer to the weight of the original Vaporfly Next Percent. Midsole here is going to be full Fuelcell, as per the TC model that was released earlier this year, that I enjoyed very much, although it was extremely squishy. I can't imagine that the RC Elite's going to be that squishy. We have an 8mm drop, and the implementation of that full carbon plate. I think that makes this one of the last high-end race shoes from the top manufacturers. Everybody else seemingly has launched theirs. New Balance are hanging fire. Will it be a situation of them saving the best till last? The shape of the rubber sections on the outsole does appear to mimic those on the Fuelcell TC, and the rear rubber also. In terms of the shape, obviously you've got the protrusions. I don't know what this means. No details really on the upper or the price. They're keeping it close to their chest. But September's getting closer when we can anticipate a full-scale release. That's all the running news I've got for you for today. A musical interlude. I've been taking rest and relaxation very seriously recently. So I dug out a couple of my Nick Drake albums. This one's called Made to Love Magic, which was a collection of unreleased material. Bits that they'd found and kind of finished off. There's some beautiful orchestration here and some great guitar playing from Nick Drake. Such a wonderful vocal delivery. Very, very British kind of sound. Really does chill you out. Probably not the best running music in the world, but something you can check out and enjoy when you're relaxing after your run. Okay, that's all for me for today, guys. Thanks for making it through to the very end of the video. If you haven't done so already, I'd very much appreciate it if you'd hit that subscribe button and click the bell below for notifications of when new videos are launched. It'd also help the channel out a huge amount if you give this video a thumbs up like and if you share it with your running buddies. My name's EddBud and I'll be seeing you